Hi there, welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. On this half-hour journey, we take a look inside the office of the Prime Minister, examine ways you can strengthen your immune system during the COVID-19 pandemic, and more. Stick around, the news is up next.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, August 31. Approximately 84,400 persons regained employment as at April this year, following the loss of over 151,000 jobs during the initial stages of the COVID-19 pandemic in July 2020. The preliminary figures were released by Dr. Wayne Henry, Director General of the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ. It's from the PIOJ's April 2021 Labour Market Survey. Despite the positive outturn, the period also saw a decline in the employed labor force by 40,500 persons relative to the same period in 2019. No survey was undertaken in 2020 due to COVID-19. However, Dr. Henry says the data is not comparable because of seasonality factors, especially when compared to January 2020, when Jamaica recorded its pre-COVID-19 employment high.
It is important to note that employment levels have increased since July 2020. As the economy gradually reopens, pre-COVID employment levels should be attained in fiscal year 2022-23.
The overall unemployment rate in April was 9%, which was 1.2 percentage points lower than the corresponding period in 2019. To reduce the cost of fertilizer to farmers, the Ministry of Agriculture has engaged Newport for Sand to develop new formulations using cheaper inputs. Agriculture Minister Floyd Green says the cost of fertilizer continues to threaten the growth trajectory of the sector while negatively impacting farmers' ability to produce. He says the decision to develop new formulas came out of a meeting with Newport for Sand to look at their challenges and see what was driving the increase in costs.
A lot of the costs that are being increased are being driven by what is happening on the worldwide market. And the companies have said to us that their input costs have significantly increased, most by more than 100%. And as such, the freight cost has also increased by over 100%. So it's a challenging scenario, but I want our farmers and fishers to know that we're going to be working with the input providers to see how we can ease that burden.
In addition, Minister Green says a team will meet with the various livestock associations to see how the ministry can provide some direct intervention to soften the burden of the increasing cost of feeds. Jamaica is leading the charge to significantly improve the Caribbean's response to existing and emerging cybersecurity threats. The country is now undertaking a strategic cybersecurity training needs assessment. This is to identify the knowledge and skills required to deliver and sustain strategic responses to malicious cyber activities across the region. The initiative will also inform the building of cybersecurity scholarship and talent to serve the country and the Caribbean. The needs assessment was launched on Wednesday during a two-day virtual Caribbean Cybersecurity Skills Symposium. Minister of Education, Youth and Information Favour Williams says it's a timely initiative in this increasingly digitally driven world and given the global reliance on information and communication technology. She contends that it's a critical step in addressing the cyber skills shortage that affects the Caribbean.
A report published in June this year stated that the cybersecurity skills crisis continues on a trend impacting over half of large organizations. At the same time, companies are incurring steep costs from data breaches with an average of $4.24 million per incident, and I think that is US dollars, and that is a nearly 10% increase over 2020. Against this background, there's an obvious need for qualified experts within the region to aid in a successful fight against cyber crimes, and this cannot be overemphasized.
Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang says government will continue to lead this process of improving national and regional cyber resilience and response through education and other measures.
Cybercrime is a clear and present danger to all security in all nations of this region, but in particular our small nation Caribbean islands. This is the new frontier of national and regional security resilience, an area in which the government of Jamaica is deeply committed.
The Strategic Cybersecurity Training Needs Assessment is a significant action under the revised draft National Cybersecurity Strategy of Jamaica. And finally, some simple case matters could soon be tried at lay magistrates' courts across the island. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says his ministry is seeking to have additional simple matters shifted from the parish courts. He says arrangements will be made to facilitate this following discussions with Chief Justice Brian Sykes. The minister was speaking on Saturday at the virtual staging of the Lay Magistrates Association of Jamaica's annual Golden Scale Awards presentation.
The Ministry of Justice is very keen to have more matters being dealt with in the lay magistrates' courts. And you have my assurance that I and the Ministry of Justice will work not only to strengthen the existing lay magistrates, but to invite as many others to participate and to become lay magistrates in each of the parishes.
He says the ministry is looking to establish offices for lay magistrates in the restorative justice centers across the country. A lay magistrate is a justice of the peace, JP, trained in criminal law and procedure, and acts as a judge in a court of law that deals with less serious offenses. And that's it for JI's News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
Without a doubt, tourism is Jamaica's #1 industry, and our dedicated workers are its greatest asset. Jamaica would not be the heartbeat of the world without you. As the industry rebounds from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, we truly need all hands on deck, yours included. Vaccination holds the hope for tourism's full recovery. In addition to COVID-19 protocols, it is the only comprehensive way to fight the pandemic and save lives. I am therefore urging every worker in the tourism and hospitality industry, in all the subsectors, including accommodation, attractions, entertainment, transportation and craft, to do your part and get vaccinated. Do it for yourself, your family, your workplace, and your community. Do it for Jamaica, land we love. Stay safe. Get vaccinated.
Let's take a look at the latest developments within the Office of the Prime Minister. Jamaica House Weekly is up next.
Ground broken for homes at Bellrock in St. Andrew. Island receives bulk medical oxygen. And the Prime Minister remembers 2 Jamaican stalwarts. You are watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Carrie-Ann Smith-McIntosh. On Monday morning, Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced that the island was in receipt of well-needed medical oxygen. Oxygen supplies ran low on Friday due to a sharp increase in COVID-19 related hospitalizations. The bulk oxygen arrived early Monday and has since been deployed to hospitals across the island. While he thanked distributor IGL Group, the Ministry of Health, Jamaica Customs and other stakeholders, Mr. Holness urged citizens to get vaccinated. He shared a similar message earlier in anticipation of the last announced No Movement Day on Sunday, September 5. The 7 days of no movement, which stretch over 3 consecutive weekends, is one of many measures implemented to stem the spread of COVID-19 cases and associated hospitalizations and deaths. Asserting that lockdowns aren't sufficient to fight the pandemic, he urged Jamaicans to heed the medical warnings and take the vaccine.
Nobody's saying that you may not get ill if you are vaccinated, you may not contract the disease. That's not what the science is saying. What the science is clearly saying is that the risk of an adverse or fatal event is very low.
Visit moh.gov.jm to locate a vaccination site nearest you. 12 families whose homes were destroyed by fire in November 2018 will soon have a place to call their own. Prime Minister Andrew Holness broke ground recently for the houses at Bellrock in West Central St. Andrew. He says construction on the dwellings was delayed due to the installation of a $100 million sewerage system in the area. Mr. Holness says additional lands are being sought to build more houses to transform the Bellrock community.
We are still looking in the community for properties that we can purchase and redevelop. And the West Central St. Andrew Trust is looking to spearhead that, because we have taken the view that if we're going to develop the community, yes, we have to develop the people's minds, but we also have to improve the conditions under which people live.
Nominations are now being accepted for the Prime Minister's Youth Award for Excellence 2021. Applications opened on Sunday, August 29 and will close on September 24. The award is open to Jamaican nationals between the ages of 15 and 29 who have attained excellence in several categories. These include environmental protection, youth development, entrepreneurship, and agriculture. Interested persons may visit youthjamaica.com to download the award criteria and application forms and submit them to pmyouthawardsja@gmail.com. For further information, call 876-922-1400, extension 6126 or 6141. Earlier in the week, the Prime Minister expressed deep sadness at the passing of Professor Gerald Layla. Professor Layla passed away on August 23 following a brief illness at age 90. Prime Minister Holness says the astute scientist and educator's passing is a significant loss to Jamaica and the Caribbean. The geochemist founded the International Center for Environmental and Nuclear Sciences in 1997 and led research which impacted agriculture and industrial development. Professor Layla is the recipient of many honors, including the Order of Merit, Jamaica's third highest national honor. And by August 29, the country was again plunged into mourning with the passing of music pioneer and one of the founding fathers of reggae, Rainford Hugh Perry. Popularly known as Lee Scratch Perry, the musical giant died while under care at the Noel Holmes Hospital in Hanover at age 85. Lee Scratch Perry is remembered for his pioneering work in the development of dub music. Perry's innovative and eccentric style can also be heard in remixing, studio effects, and in the works of other Jamaican musicians such as Bob Marley and the Wailers. Prime Minister Holness says the Grammy winner reshaped the reggae landscape, having produced over 1,000 recordings in his 60-year career. He is also a member of the Order of Distinction Officer Class. Prime Minister Holness extended sincere condolences to the Perry family, friends, his musical colleagues, and his many supporters across the globe. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
I'm saying to every single Jamaican, you will decide how this pandemic ends. If you wear your mask, if you maintain the physical distance, and if you decide to take the vaccines when it is your time, the pandemic will end. But if in frustration or just ignorance, we do not take responsibility, then the pandemic could end badly, including the loss of more lives.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Government has implemented measures meant to reduce the spread of COVID-19, including tighter curfew hours and designated no-movement days. Health officials also continue to encourage frequent hand washing, maintaining your distance, wearing a mask, and getting vaccinated. But there are other ways to fight this pandemic and its worst effects. I'm talking about boosting your immune system by consuming the right amount of nutrients for your body to function effectively. Take a look.
Eating healthy by having a balanced diet consisting of items from all the food groups and consuming the right portions is important to get the nutrients vital for disease prevention, growth, and good health. Essential nutrients are building blocks for the cells that make up the body, from bone to muscle, skin, and hair. One of the most critical ones is protein, which is made up of different amino acids, some of which the body can make on its own. We need a variety of proteins to function properly, many of which can only come from the foods we eat. Meats, fish, and eggs are essential sources from animals, while plant sources include beans, nuts, and some grains. How much protein you need daily depends on a variety of factors, including how active you are and your age. Carbohydrates are the main nutrients for fueling the body's energy needs, especially our central nervous system and brain. They help protect against diseases, but some carbohydrates are healthier than others. Some healthy sources include your fresh produce, such as yam, banana, breadfruit, and tubers, as well as whole grains, fiber-rich vegetables, and fruits. Less healthy sources include refined grains and products with added sugar. Fats often get a bad rap, but it's important to know that healthy fats are essential to our body's function. Fats aid in vitamin and mineral absorption, blood clotting, building cells, and muscle movement. Fats are high in calories, which is a measure of energy from foods, but the World Health Organization recommends keeping daily calorie intake from fat at under 30%. Including healthy fats, which are the unsaturated fats in your diet, can help balance blood sugar, decrease the risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes, and improve brain function. Healthy fats are also powerful anti-inflammatories and can lower the risk for arthritis, cancer, and Alzheimer's disease. Some of the well-known unsaturated fats are the omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. Sources of these healthy fats include fish, seeds, nuts, and vegetable oils, olive, avocado, and flax seeds. Trans fats are to be avoided, and we should also limit our intake of saturated fats, of which the main sources are animal-based and include butter, cheese, red meat, and ice cream. Vitamins are organic compounds essential for normal growth and are required in small quantities. There are 13 essential vitamins that the body needs, and these help lower the risk of diseases such as lung and prostate cancer. Vitamin A supports healthy vision, skin, and bones. Powerful antioxidants like vitamin C boost the immune system and helps the body heal. Eating a varied and well-balanced diet of fruits and vegetables should supply the body with the required vitamins. Minerals are also important nutrients needed for building strong bones and teeth. They help with regulating our body's metabolism and keeping us properly hydrated. The mineral calcium strengthens bones and teeth and helps with nerve signal transmission. It also helps to maintain healthy blood pressure and with muscle contraction and relaxation. Iron supports red blood cells and hormone creation, while the mineral zinc boosts the immune system and wound healing. The body also needs water, which improves brain function and mood, and acts as a shock absorber and lubricant in the body. Water also flushes our toxins, carries nutrients to cells, hydrates the body, and prevents constipation. Even mild dehydration can make us feel tired and impair concentration and physical performance. In addition to drinking water, we can hydrate ourselves by eating fruits and vegetables such as spinach and watermelon. Start treating your body right. As you grab your next meal, make sure you're getting all the nutrients needed in their right proportion.
Tip number 1. Keep your regular medication and other supplies well stocked. Ensure there is access to several weeks of medications and supplies in case there is a need for you to stay home. Monitor food and other medical supplies needed and create a plan in the event that such resources become depleted. Tip number 2. Stay sanitized. Tip number 3. respond to multi-generational living situations. Many older adults live in homes where other members, such as children, may have frequent colds. Therefore, do not share personal items like food, water bottles, and utensils. If possible, choose a room in your home that can be used to separate sick household members from those who are healthy. Tip number 4. Develop intentional caregiver plans. Older adults may be caregivers or may receive care themselves. Caregivers and care recipients should discuss their preparation plans, including how to stay in touch via phone or email. Determine who can provide you with care if your caregiver gets sick. And tip number 5, keep abreast of essential up-to-date information. That means you should find and regularly check a trusted information source.
A disability is any condition of the body or mind that makes simple activities and interactions more difficult to do. Referring to a disabled person by the name of their disability may seem harmless, but this is not always the case.
Call me Nefishiba.
Call the person by their names if you know their names, and if you don't know their names, ask. I recall when I was growing up, disability was not a word. Most persons who had varying impairments, people used to call them, even today, I'll use this one. They call persons with one hand or 1 foot one-y. And they call persons who are deaf the D word, which I will not say. The Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and the Disabilities Act push forward that you put the person first. So I know sometimes we love to say the disabled man. He is a man first and foremost. And so I know too that some members of the disability community, they don't mind. But if we want to be politically correct, just remember it's a person first.
I know many of our children and youths and even adults, they face labeling in their communities. And one of the derogatory terms that people would use to describe them is that you're retard or you're retarded. And those are terms that, emotionally, they hurt persons with intellectual disability because you're seeing the person with a condition and not the person.
I am Hanaki.
They are also referred to as handicapped.
Don't call me that.
Don't call me that.
But we all know that what we refer to as a handicap is a barrier that you place. It can be a physical barrier, it can be an attitudinal barrier that you place on the person, but the person is not a handicap. Anybody with a disability is a person first. And so you address the person. Do you, the tall person? No. You would call the person by him or her, by his or her name. So address the persons by their names.
You might say that, but the person is deaf, I can't sign. Ask them, maybe they can write, or maybe they can lip it, and you figure it out together. Or if someone is in the space, they can maybe tell you, but ask. It's always nice to ask. And people who are blind are not necessarily deaf. So we do not need to shout and, scream if it's a person who is blind. They can hear and they can speak.
It's a challenge, but for most persons will find the term visually impaired acceptable. People have many ways of referring to persons who are blind, which we in the blind community will find quite derogatory, right? There are terms that people use, sometimes, the tease of the other children, for example, referring to them as bat or blind bat, or blinky, or cast eye, or those terms obviously are not acceptable terms and are not terms of endearment at all.
I recently went to a function and the question was asked in the room, what do you think, what are the words that come to mind when you hear the word deaf? And everybody, in the audience sought to say, no hearing, discriminated against, and all those kinds of words. And the deaf person said, what about champion? What about an achiever? What about a motivator? What about those positive words that we refer to others in society as? People with disabilities are those too. And so if we begin there, no, you do not have to pay money to change an attitude. An attitude is a decision. And so if Jamaicans, out of understanding that people with disabilities are people and they have capabilities, abilities like everybody else, then I think that will be a humongous achievement, because it will then have a ripple effect on everything else that happens in society.
We are just like you. We have the same needs, we do the same things. We work, we have families, we cook, we wash, we clean, we do all the same things. We are not different. It means that when you're thinking of persons who are blind or visually impaired, think of us as, your brother, your sister. The same things that you need, the same things that you want. Respect, the need for autonomy. Those are the same things that we want.
I know a lot of persons might say, but that is what they are. And I would say, no, that is not what they are. The disability might be part of their person, but they are not their disability. The disability is a condition. And so all the other derogatory words that are utilized, if we put ourselves in the position, recognizing that disability is no respecter of persons, whether class or socioeconomic status, color, disability has no bias. And so in these days when we have those beautiful roads and we drive on them at high speeds and we can end up in accidents, a disability is a second away.
We've come to the end of another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Thanks so much for staying with us as we provide you with informative content as always. Be sure to join us again tomorrow at the same time. Remember to visit our website, jis.gov.jm, and follow us on all the major social media platforms to stay in the know. You can also download the JIS app from the Android and iOS store. Don't forget to sanitize, distance, and vaccinate. Until next time, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Walk good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.